It's mid-July and we're back at Black Point Historical Site on Lake Geneva, and I thought we'd take a quick review of the planting that we did 2 years ago using 2.5-inch containers. So this is its second summer, and as you can see, the plants are filling in very nicely. We have a few holes that we're going to have to fill, but the allium, the calaminthas, the molinas, they're all doing well. And actually, let me add to this, they have an excellent intern again this year who's doing a wonderful job, stewardship job with the Dutch push pull hoe. So let's take a walk and see how things are doing as we go through the garden into the shade area. Let's take a look at some of the plants we used in the meadow planting. We have Molinia Paul Peterson. And I gotta remind you, these are 2.5-inch containers. This is their second season. And they've had wonderful stewardship, wonderful care. Allium Summer Beauty. This is Echinacea Purpurea Alba. And blending through the Molinia Paul Peterson, Coreopsis Zagreb. And I have the Echinacea kind of drifting through the Molinia, and it drifts into Spiralis heterolepis. So it's kind of a simple patterns of textures of grasses, Echinaceas, and some Stachys Humilo. And then we have some Aruncus Horatio on the outer edges. And then we're going to add a bulb layer this spring. But what I'm really excited about is the way it's filled in. So we're entering the sedge shade garden, and look how nicely Carex montana filled in. This is again Carex montana. We have it interplanted with Dropteris marginalis, leatherwood fern, which are a nice evergreen fern. And then we have Calophyllum thalectroides, blue cohosh, drifting through. Anemone cylindrica, and then Carex flacca, which is a blue sedge. It's fairly aggressive in the sun. In the shade it gets more calmer and has a beautiful soft texture of tinted blue. So I used the tinted blue to mix between the Carex albicans, Carex montana, and Carex pennsylvanica as the sedge matrix. So let's walk a little further along and see how the plants are doing. I want to show you the native Pachysandra. This is Pachysandra procumbens. It's native to the east coast, the Appalachians, but it really works well in our Midwestern soils. We have, again, clay soils, but that drain well in this particular woodland area. And eventually the Pachysandra is going to fill in and create a nice ground cover. For me, the flowers are much more richer than the Pachysandra traditionally used as ground cover for over the last 40 years. And it has a softer green color. And I have it mixed again with Dropteris marginalis, and we have it also with Iris crostata, the crested iris. So it makes a nice combination, and we pick up the texture of the sedges are basically the matrix, the grout that holds everything together. So let's move on and look at a few other plants. This is the Iris crostata. It's filled in quite a bit since we put it in, and actually this was in a 4.5-inch container, but it's tripled in size in the last 2 years. And it's nice when it runs, it'll run into the Carex and probably a little bit through it, but not overwhelming it. So they're a good combination to plant together is the Iris crostata, and this is again Carex montana on this section. So this is a Thalictrum dioicum. This is a beautiful plant. It reseeds modestly, but it'll reseed again through the sedge community. Look at the foliage. Very textural, it's kind of a light-hearted plant, grows well, and you can see it's in the heavy shade here. And again, I've used this just spotted through the sedge and the fern groupings. So it complements the ferns, and it's, again, easy to grow. It's very easy for us to grow in this community. So we're back to a moment of full sun as we walk along the woodland path. And again, I repeat the Calamintha nepeta, subspecies nepeta, the Allium Summer Beauty, Coreopsis Zagreb, and it's in a sea of Molinia Paul Peterson. This fall we're going to put some bulbs in, and we'll probably use Allium azurium and Allium flavum and Allium pucellum for some summer color within the Molinia. So I think overall, after 2 years, going into the second year, we've got about 90% success. We've got 100% success on stewardship. The 2 years that the group here has cared for this, they've done a wonderful job of of controlling the weed population. And they've also done a wonderful job of watering based on need this summer. We've had a dry period for 2 or 3 weeks. And I've got 4 or 5 empty spots I have to fill because I'm really uncomfortable with bare ground. So I want to make sure I get the ground covered, and then we can catch up to the success of the garden. So we got to garden some bare areas into health, and we're going to try to do that in August and September. Thanks, everybody.